Hey guys, I'm going to show you how you can start working with your dog on getting some kennel manners started. So guiding them in and avoiding the rushing out. I'm going to show you first how you can do this on leash without the use of the e-collar. And then I'm going to introduce it with the e-collar as well. So I have Mr. Bridger here and I'm going to start by guiding him in. I have him on a 6-foot slip lead right now. I'm going to start guiding him in. I'm going to use both my spatial pressure and the door to help set that boundary of him coming out if he goes to rush out. So I'm going to guide him in with leash guidance. Bridger, Kennel. Good. Notice how I stand in front of him. Good. I'm going to offer him a reward. I'm going to take a step back. Shh. I use my shush noise and spatial pressure there. Again, I'm not using the e-collar for this. I will show that process after. Good. Good. Let's go. Notice how I have him on leash. So many people want to put their dogs into crates, shut the door, and hope for the best. I'm going to do this with every single dog on drop-off day for their board and train so I can get them settled into the crate versus just shutting the door and hoping for the best. Kennel. Notice how his head is peeking forward. I'm just going to shut it so he backs up. Good. Good. Set these boundaries up immediately. What does an open door mean to your dog? Shh. Good. Try that again. Notice how I've not dropped the leash yet. Good. What your dog can't do off leash, they should not be doing, or what your dog can't do on leash, they should not be doing off leash yet. So in this type of situation, if I didn't have the leash on him and he goes to run out and my body pressure either wasn't quick enough or the door wasn't quick enough, he's going to be out, he's going to self-reinforce. Is it the end of the world in this space? No. But I want to set him up and myself up for success before jumping right into dropping or taking the leash off. Good. Good. I will always start with dropping the leash first versus taking it off. Good. Walk around, not pay as much attention to him. Do some other things, walk right past. I always have my peripherals on him. I don't care if he's sitting, standing, in a down, anything right now. I just want him in the kennel. You are short. Picking up the leash is not an invitation to rush out. Good. 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 Bye-bye. See you later. Shh. 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 Good. I will utilize my body in the exact same way if I have my e-collar or not. The only thing that I might use a little bit more when I'm not working with the e-collar is my door. So this would be like a nice visual boundary for the dog. They go to start stepping out, you could just close the door. They go to step out, close the door until they eventually are not busting out when you open the door. Good. Now I'm going to incorporate my low-level stim for that same sort of boundary I want to set with the shush tap if he goes to step out, which I do with every single dog when teaching the kennel boundaries. Hi. Oh, it's a good boy. Notice how I have the leash for this first one. Good. Shh. Right there is a shush. Tap at a 2 out of 100. Spatial pressure back in. Good. Picking up the leash is not an invitation to pop out. Good. My body language was setting him up to potentially make a mistake. And again, that was my point in this kind of situation. Good. Good. Good boy. Oh, wow. What a good dog. Good. Frick. Good boy. Bridger. Good. I like that. That was beautiful. If you were to have gone in just being like, oh, that's where I've been reinforced, that's where I've been reinforced, I just would have guided him back out and looked for something like this. Now with my e-collar versus the difference of me just using leash guidance and pointing, I'm going to start with layering my tone over it for going in. Bridger, Kennel. Good. Why my tone? Because I will switch to the low level stim for this, is because tone is creating movement. So on day one, I heavily focus on tone, 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 tone for movement towards or movement into things. Good. Notice I'm also bringing my hand in to reward versus rewarding with his head out here. I want to reward in here, reward inside the crate. Good. If your dog is super rambunctious and eager to work and can be kind of crazy pants like this man, notice how when I'm releasing him, I'm keeping my brake nice and neutral, and I'm starting to give him guidance the second we come out. Or I would potentially do something like this and let him know, let's go. Good. Bridger. Notice how I shortened my leash before I released him out. Again, you have to do all of this on leash before you're expecting your dog to do it off leash. The first stage would be giving the dog more leash versus being more taut on the leash. Good. Kennel. Good boy. Notice how his head's starting to kind of come out like, hey, hey, treat. Back him up. I'm more than happy to give him food as a reinforcement, and I will continue to do so, but I'm not going to give it to him for every little thing, and especially not when it's like, well, now I'm looking for it. I'm going to wait for the timing that I want, which he's more calm right now, looking at me softly. Good. And then I can bring him a reward. Right. Good boy. Notice how I choke up on the leash immediately, knowing he's a little bit more busybody. I'll take a little bit of lap. Bridger. Just tone. Good boy. Shh. Right there. I just shushed him, slowed him down with the leash. Good. Kennel. Good boy. Right. Good. I'll show you how you can do that with the e-collar. Shh. Shush tap. Shush tap. I'm at a 2 out of 100. The next phase would be doing low level stim to start to condition him to that with the e-collar. So what I would do is I would start my tap, Kennel, stop it once he's fully in. Good. Good. And I will do this many more times, not a ton, but I never just shut the door and then leave the dog. What the first stage would be is I would take the leash off, leave the e-collar on. Good. Shh. Shh. Good. Right there, the second time, I shushed and tapped at that 2, when he was like really forwardly trying to like sniff all over me and be a little bit more pushy. I'm going to try it with the door open without the leash. Good. I'm going to go shut and clasp it and walk away. And I'll do short increments of this where, beautiful choices. So again, he's not completely foreign to the crate, so a dog that's completely foreign to it is going to take more practice and more time, but I won't leave him and then again just hope for the best. I'm going to start to make sure that he has a really clear understanding of this new language that we're teaching him. So if I need to, with the e-collar, do a shush tap, just like I did with the boundary for like whining or barking or something like that. I can start to utilize that. But again, I want to set him up for success of understanding the expectations in here first before just putting him in and being like, he's crate trained, just because you can get your dog to go into the crate. So take it baby steps. But again, we do this on day one with every single dog. Even though they come crate trained, they immediately try stuff with us. They're immediately going to try to bark. They, my definition of crate trained might be different than the owner's. So we always start on day one with this so that we can set the dogs up for success and they start to understand the expectations immediately, so we don't have dogs barking their heads off in the kennel room. So hope that was helpful. Again, take it in stages. Guide your dog in, food reward, practice some impulse control, and practice it daily. All right, we're back and I'm going to get him out now. This is where I see a lot of owners struggle because maybe the dog had a little bit of downtime in the crate and now they're ready to go. Here's how I would work through this. Again, this is why I do this on day one, so I can be down here and leave the e-collar on them for the first time. And if you're down here, or you're down here, you don't have a kennel room, but if you're in your dog's vicinity and you're not utilizing the e-collar, leave their leash on them with you in here. So don't leave them unattended with their leash on, but leave their leash on. You could have it outside of the crate, so when you go to open it, you would already have their leash on them. But for him, I have the e-collar on him, and I'll use my door as a boundary as well. Shh. I'm going to set the boundary a little bit more like immediate since he doesn't have a leash on him versus letting him make a little bit more of a mistake if he did have a leash on him. Good. I go to put the leash on. Shh. 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 This is something that we noticed immediately at drop off with his owners, is he was like mouthing the slip lead the second his owner was trying to put it on him. So I did a shush and I tapped it a 4 for all of that like craziness with the leash. So take your time with this. He wants to come out and I get that. But if I just like put it on him quickly and I'm like, all right, let's release out, that's what he's going to create, is his association of kennel, leash, movement all of the time with his humans. Good. Good, much better, buddy. And I will reward for that because previously he was mouthing the leash terribly. So exciting to be 9 months old. Again, you're working with dogs, know your dog. I know that he is not human aggressive, so I'm a little bit more in his space. I wouldn't be like this if it was a dog that I was concerned was going to bite me or anything like that. Good. And again, I don't care if he's going to sit, stand, down. Him choosing to go into a down or him choosing to go into sit is great, but I won't be holding him accountable for that for a couple of days yet. Good. Let's go. Shh. When I get the dog out, shh, the first time, I like to do a few more in and outs because I don't want to mean that every single time we come out of the crate it means we're going to do something. It might just mean we're going out for a potty break, coming back in. It might mean that we're just doing some kennel drills. So I'm going to start with my low stim. Kennel. Good. Stopped the second that you got in. Good. Boundary with that door. Good. I am going to reward for that choosing to go into a down because eventually that's what I'll be asking for. Good. Free. Good. Very good. Richard. Good. Richard. Good. Very good. Now we're going to get to work with some other things. So see how I took that little bit of extra time to get him out calmly, get him leashed up calmly. Good boy. Because it's in both of our best interests. Good job, bud. Yeah. Okay.